Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the therapeutic taping technique policy.
And really the question that the subcommittee had was, do we need to list them out or not? The examples. Is that necessary? And is it a technique or is it just therapeutic taping policy?
I think if we're trying to keep it broad with policies, I feel like we wouldn't need to be specific, right? Like what this or is the subcommittee looking for something specific outlined in this policy?
Oh, you mean for the examples, Micah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were just kind of naming them off, and we weren't sure if the board would want policies listed or not. That's all.
Well, and some of these are brands.
Yeah.
Not even types. So I don't think it needs to be on there.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, I agree.
Delete. Perfect. Do we need
and then
technique? Do we need technique up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Sweet. Any other changes?
I don't think so. Anybody?
Do we want to keep the technique there? Just
I think that one's appropriate.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Need a vote.
I'll move to adopt the therapeutic taping policy as amended.
Second.
Thank you, Scott. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Scott? One more time.
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
And I for myself, motion carries.
All right, so next up is actually the working document itself of our PNP. And I bring this because I want you all to see how much work we've done, but also because we need to update our date on it within our rule. And so I want to have this version as the date to be amended in by rule for next meeting. So there is method to my madness. We're not quite there yet, Heather. Bring up the full document if it's in. I think it's in there.
It's working. It's working.
Okay. It's chugging along. Your hamsters are working hard. There we go. So table of contents, as you'll understand, is absolutely under construction because we have deleted and modified things so much. But if you could scroll down. And if you remember, there was two sections. There's a section 1 with chiropractic devices and things, and the section 2 was CAs, all sorts of things. So you will see we have gone through all of the policies and gone through all of the information within that old document. And beloved deletions are here. This X-ray services we're actually going to be addressing later in. Hold on a second.
12H.
12H. There you go. Thank you, Heather. So we'll leave that alone for now. But see how that it was separated out for CAs. Delete, delete, delete. All of it's deleted. So the process So my next steps on this committee or for this committee is to draft an introduction to the document and to provide a little bit more cohesion to itself and to do the table of contents. But we have really done amazing work. This committee has just done, I mean, over the last 2 years has just been amazing to work with, and the work that they've done and just transitioned all of these into policies. So I'm really, really proud of it. Yeah.
Alphabetize. There's a few of these that are blurry that I think we need to switch out.
Yeah.
Like that. But
But they're
formatting.
alphabetized and they're in order and they're all the same template. And with dates and effective dates and modification dates and just my OCD makes me so happy. So anyway, so we will update, I think right now, with the modifications to the policies, the amendments that you just voted on, with the exception of minor surgery, so we won't include minor surgery. Today's draft of the PMP is what we will be talking about as far as a possible new rule change. So I just want to give you guys that heads up. So there's no action on this that you need.
Good on this? Any
Yeah,
action?
there's no changes that are necessary right now, but it's today's date for this draft.
You want to change the date?
Yeah, if you would, Heather, if you want to just save it as today's date, and then we will include the amended policies that we did today in it.
Okay.
That's my next step.
We'll change it.
Has it really been 2 years?
Yeah. It's been 2 years.
Time flies. Wow.
It does. And so now we're into our section 10 of our agenda, so 10A. And then we just need to have a motion to enter rulemaking for July, if you would, to change that date.
I will make a motion to enter rulemaking on 8/11/010/0093 to amend the date in July.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Seth,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
aye for myself, motion carries.
Wonderful, thank you. So next up in 10B is essentially a model rule that we created as a result of Senate Bill 1552's requirements. And so if you remember this process, this was the kind of predetermination process. So if folks had a criminal conviction of some kind in their background, and while they're in school or training, then they could ask us as the board to do a pre-assessment of their application or their background history to see if they would qualify still or not. And so that went into effect. SB 1552 is now law. And so this is the model rule that was recommended to us. We don't have a number on it, but so all I'm asking for the board right now, board action would just be to a motion to enter rulemaking so that we can actually review it and make it into law. But there's also a fee associated, so the board would need to determine what type of fee that we would want. And I know in the conversations with the other health professional regulatory boards, I think the majority of them are charging $75 to do the pre-assessment. And so that's kind of what has been put forward to the legislature that the boards would require.
That's what I was gonna say about like $75. I was gonna start with 50, but 75. That's a good one. But I'll motion to enter this into rulemaking, and this is for now or July.
For July.
Yeah, I'll move to move this to rulemaking for July.
Perfect. And just as
Second.
a caveat, actually, sorry, Lori, just before you get to your second, just as a caveat, we may not make it to July, depending on how much stuff that I can get lined up with the new person being hired and our rules coordinator and all those things. The goal is to have it done by July. But I will keep you posted on that. So enter rulemaking for July. Go ahead. Lori, your second.
Second.
And we all agree that it's $75. Is that something that we need to move as well?
No, we'll
No,
vote
'cause-
on that next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah.
Aye.
Aye for myself. Motion carries.
All right. Thank you. So now
Alrighty.
begins the process of all of our essentially the federal legislation related, not even federal legislation, federal action related policies that we need to get implemented. Heather, you're going to pull up the version that I think I saved from yesterday. That's the public benefit version of the. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I
Let me look.
in the Word docs are set.
Yeah, it's in Word docs. Hold on just a sec.
All I see is 415 on all of them.
Yeah. So I don't think I made changes. So just pull up the 11AI that has the underscore public benefit version.
Hold on, it's coming. Okay. Here is public.
There we go. Perfect. And then I will bring up, this is what we talked about yesterday with legal counsel, and she gave us some guidance on this. Let me get into. Heather, I'm going to email you if you remember the highlighted green language. That is not what I'm looking for. From Kristen's email. Oh. Here it is. Okay. Sorry, everybody. This is taking a little bit of time.
Used to editing.
Okay. So I just sent Heather the language that we're going to include. So if you want to scan or scroll down, Heather, to where it says legal requirements, I think it's right. No, not there, but go down farther. There we go. Wait, just past it. Yes. So where the highlighted yellow is, the language that I just emailed to you should be entered into that section.
Do you want me to just kind of copy paste?
Copy paste and then do away with the highlight. And then I'm sending you the second section too.
Today we have a celebrity affirmation by Tina Fey.
Did you receive that second email?
And where does that go?
And that's going to go under B, so that right under that section. So you have, scroll down a little bit.
This one?
Yes, thank you. And then scroll down for me, because there's one more section I want to see if we need to change. Yeah, so I will send you this list of. All right. We're doing this on the fly, everybody. Sorry about that. And then there will be one remaining question, and that's kind of for staff and board to answer. Here we go. So if you want to scroll up, and I
To
have
the
one
very top
remaining.
or just to where we started?
No, to where that the last highlighted question that I had, that's not that we haven't filled yet. So I did have a highlighted portion there. So when we collect this information to use business, OBC's public records retention schedules can be found. So do we have our public records retention schedule posted somewhere?
I
I'm
don't
asking
think
of
so.
staff.
Yeah, I don't
Not
think
that I
so.
know of.
Okay. So I think we need to make a plan to post that retention schedule on our website. So OBC's public records can be found, or actually, can we change this to will be found?
And,
Yeah. And so we will make that happen, and we'll change that language within there. So will be found on. And do we want to have the link within the policy? Do we want the link, or do we want to just say on OBC's website?
the link subject.
Sorry, Heather, what was that?
I was just thinking the links are subject to change.
Yeah,
We change
exactly.
the name of the link or whatever it could.
Okay, so we'll just say that it's going to be on the website. And I think that's all the questions that I had. So if the board wants to review it in full, please do.
Start at the top.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Did you make it bigger a little bit, Heather? Thanks. And you know this is serious when I'm referred to as Cassandra, so there you go.
Do we want to keep all the underlining or is that?
Sorry, Heather, what was that?
Do we keep all the underlined stuff? Or is this just an internal policy or is this going to be posted? Or
This is both internal and will be posted. And so that's the other question or aspect of this is that we don't right now have our administrative policies posted, and we'll do so. And I would keep the underline per the model the model template that we received from DOJ.
Everyone good to scroll up?
Yep.
I'm gonna say yep.
Okay.
It doesn't like the S on connections in bullet point 2.
Connection, yeah.
Mhm.
I wouldn't worry about it, Heather. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is this going to change, like on applications where we ask for uh, place of birth? Does this change any
No,
of that?
nope,
Okay.
no change at all. I mean, that's what this gets to because the information is necessary to evaluate their eligibility.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what the issue is. The question that I had was, are licenses and certificates considered a public benefit? And they are by federal law.
do we,
Do we what?
I mean, because OBCE doesn't verify employment eligibility, correct?
Yes, but no, that's right. However, it's an option that we can.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll worry about the formatting later, Heather, if you want to just scroll down.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Questions, comments?
Thank.
For the record, I gestured thumbs up.
Thank you.
So it's going to be a long day. We have, 7 other similar kind of weighted policies, very similar to this. So if we can get a
Okay.
motion and a vote.
All right. Well, what is this called? I move to adopt this policy as amended.
And for the record, that's the collecting and maintaining citizenship or immigration status or country of birth information policy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We'll vote. Seth,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
and the I for myself. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next one up is, so this first one was collecting for us to collect the information. This one is about us as employees sharing and disclosing that information. Thanks, Heather.
Everybody see it okay?
Yeah, it looks good. Oh, I didn't change my name on here. Can you add Cassandra on there rather than just Cass? Thanks.
Was there executive director behind your name on the first one?
There was.
Okay. You just go down.
So board members, these two policies really, and these policies really don't affect you personally or you as board members, but you do need to approve these. These are really just for us as guidance for employees when dealing with this information. If we are contacted by the federal authorities and ICE, that sort of thing. So this is really for staff to really pay close attention to. And a very important distinction between the Homeland Security warrants and judicial warrants. They are two different things. So in sum, we will not be disclosing this type of information unless ordered to do so by a judicial warrant or order. We will not be abiding by ICE or Department of Homeland Security's paper or documentation.
All right.
We're good.
All right. I will move to adopt the sharing or disclosing citizenship or immigration status or country of birth information policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Aye for myself, motion carries.
Thank you. Next one up is contact with federal authorities policy. Federal immigration authorities policy. And while contact, usually you think of contact as in-person contact, because we have no physical office space, the likely contact that we would have would be via email or phone. So I wanted to make sure that we had this still.
All right, looks good. Any questions, comments? I will move to adopt the contact with federal authorities policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Aye for myself, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is Federal Immigration Authorities authorities access to student records policy. So we have their authority to access student records, then we have patient records, and then we have public facilities. And again, while we don't have a public facility, we need to have this in the future in case we do have facilities. And this, of course, is relating to the student records are relating to the transcripts that we receive.
Questions, comments? I will move to adopt the Federal Immigration Authority Access to Student Records Policy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth? I think he froze. Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Seth, are you back?
Yep. Aye.
And an aye for myself, motion carries.
Thank you. Again, this is next up is the Federal Immigration Authority's access to public or patient records, patient records policy. We're getting there, people. I know this is tedious. But it's exceptionally important.
All right, I will move to accept the Federal Immigration Authority's access to patient records policy.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Seth? Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Seth, we didn't get you on record.
Aye.
An aye for myself, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is the public facilities policy.
All right, I will move to adopt the Federal Immigration Authority's access to public facilities policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seth,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
and I for myself, motion carries.
Okay, so actually next up is so we had the customer service standards policy that was approved at our last meeting. And that policy was reviewed by DAS and had suggestions made. And so Heather, if you could pull up, I don't know if it's in your Word docs or not, so let me look.
Strategic plan?
No. It's going to be within the administrative policy review in the board packet under the second for 11B.
Eleven B, the first one.
Yeah, the second 11B.
The checklist.
Yeah. Sorry, let me look.
The checklist in the DAS review.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, not the checklist. The third 11B. Sorry, I miscounted. The DAS review. So yeah, if you want to just scroll down a little bit. So this is what they've reviewed, and what needing to change in it is single point of contact for matters related to the policy. That will be me. Outline process to monitor and improve customer service performance. I wasn't quite sure what that process looks like other than our KPMs. So I just wanted the board to kind of needle that through with me, I guess. And then describe a process for ensuring contact information on a website stays updated. Right now, I can make something up, but I will provide more data on that, and then submit agency KPMs, which is interesting, that we already have them posted on our website. So I will make these adjustments. The board doesn't need to make those adjustments with me right now. Just know that I will submit them as draft, and then in July I'll come back with the final version. But I just want to give you a heads up that that's where we are.
Okay.
So.
You want me to X out of this?
Yeah, if you would, Heather, thank you.
We're done with this one, right?
But yes, we are done with the customer service standards policy for now. You'll see that next time in July as a
Okay.
revised policy. Now we're up to tribal relationship and cooperation policy. Okay. So this is a policy that actually I kind of co-opted from the Board of Dentistry. Actually, they had this policy first. And part of it is we have a statutory reporting requirement to actually report back to the governor's office and to the legislature around whether we have this policy and what kind of outreach we're doing with the tribes if necessary. And so really all this is providing notice of our rulemaking, having a consultation process in place if there are issues that we manage that affect the tribes. And so it's really describing that process and what it looks like. In my tenure year, we've only had one, not so much our policies or rulemaking that would affect the tribes. We've only had one case that involved a tribal member. Actually, two cases that involved tribal members, but their membership in the tribe was not an issue of the case. One case was a tribal member receiving care from a chiropractor who then moved on to the reservation, and we weren't able to access her. So that was the only case in 11 years, I think, that had any kind of effect with tribal relations. So I'm really pleased with this policy, actually, that we are going to be implementing it, and that I'll be the OBC is obviously the tribal affairs coordinator, in that involved in that outreach. In most years, actually, the governor has a government to government summit that they put on. I think there's only been 2 years that have been missed in the last 6, that I generally attend. And so it's a really amazing summit. Often, one time it was held in Pendleton at Umatilla, and the other time it was held in Grand Ronde, the last 2 that I remember. But it's a really phenomenal summit and goes through all sorts of issues that the tribes in the state are dealing with. And this year's summit, I believe, conflicts with something that's going on for us, either our board meeting or something else in October. So I won't be able to attend. But I know the governor has established a biweekly government to government call that the 9 tribes attend, and agency directors attend. And so I'm participating in that call, and it's really phenomenal communication that's going on. So I just want to give an update about that. Can't hear you, Heather.
Isn't is that supposed to be an A affected?
I actually had the original was with an A, and then it changed to so I changed it back to what I thought it was supposed to be an A as well. So as long as we're consistent use.
Should we leave it or change it?
Just leave it for now.
Because this has bothered me too, the double spacing. But
I know you don't double space, but I will double space because I am a double spacer.
you know what? I used to be, and then I took a class, and I got marked off for double spacing after periods.
That's nice. Double spacing and Team Oxford comma forever. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so this is weird. One or more of the 4 criteria, and there's 5 bullet points.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I saw that too. I went with it.
Do you want to change it, or do we leave it? Or-
No, I'll just leave it.
Okay.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to say anything bad about the dental offices and dental boards.
All right. Questions, comments? I will move to accept or adopt the tribal relationship and cooperation policy.
Second.
Corey seconds. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Seth,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you all, and thank you, Heather, for your amazing following and editing.
Wouldn't let me.
All right. Agenda number 12.
And actually, I'm looking at it and I think we've already had this conversation because we've already entered rulemaking or proposed rulemaking for the
Yes.
SB 1552. So we do not need to do that. Adjust earlier in the meeting.
We don't need to do a strategic plan.
No, actually, Heather, that's coming up, so don't worry about that for now.
Okay.
So B and C don't have any documentation. Actually, the board certification and fellowship, the IAMN, so 12B is part of our materials. It's not going to be in the
Oh, I
Word
see.
doc. Yeah.
Where do I find 12B?
That will just be in policy, discussion and action, 12B, the first 12B in discussion and action items. So all of this should have been in your materials, board members. This is a letter. It was an interesting timing on this letter because our investigator had been reaching out to different credentialing entities about a legal question that he had, and we happened to get this letter during that same time frame from the IANM. So it was about who can claim to be certified in certain ways. And so this was super interesting, and it's really just for your information only. So if we have cases that have this question come up, we now have a contact person that we can call, and we also have this statement from them. So purely for your information only.
Very good. Okay. CJIS wrap back update.
So Miriam, we want to give an update?
Yes, of course. So Heather and I attended a training regarding the Rat Pack just to get a little more information about the fees and process that they complete on this. One of the main components of being on Rat Pack is um, having a lead certification. And so in the past, we haven't gone forward with the lead certification. It's a little bit of a longer process to actually get somebody certified in our office. There's also fees involved with that. But another thing that they mentioned in the training is that there's on top of the fee for DCs to pay for the background check, there's a subscription fee. So that could be yearly or every 5 years, but depending on what they plan to make those fees, if it's 5 years, it would be paid at the 5 year, but for 5 years, each of the fees would be a total on that 5th year. So we just wanted to give you guys an update on that and what that involves, and seeing that there's more added fees. And last time you guys weren't really okay with that. We just wanted to give you an update on why we haven't moved forward with that yet. And they probably will come back with more information regarding this of like what the actual fees will be. And in that time, we can come back and let you know if you want to make a decision on it then. I
Yeah.
don't know if Heather wants to add anything to that.
Heather,
Which is
no.
fine. I mean, that we
Yeah.
pretty much like
No,
we're
it
talking
was.
about the
I mean,
same thing.
it was interesting, and I can see where it could benefit benefit public safety.
Well, and if the board remembers, the CJIS RAPAC issue was that folks would sign up, per what Miriam just said about the subscription, as licensees, and they would do a background check, and then the RAPAC portion of it's a real time violation or charging or history for when people are arrested or charged, and so we would get notification through that system immediately, rather than having the licensee at renewal disclose or not disclose. And so right now we have a 6-year background check requirement for our licensees every 6 years. But for this program, it would just be an automatic. We would get notified right away. And so for us, it would be really convenient if the costs weren't associated. And so, of course, with our budget the way it is, and also our smaller board, for the larger agencies, it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
But for us, for right now, it's not making any sense at all until we get further information from them, and if they have discounted prices for smaller agencies. The other aspect of this too is the LEDS unit. I thought also, since we don't have a physical office space, it would be really difficult to qualify being having LEDs in someone's home. But maybe that's, I don't know, Miriam, if you have any input on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not as familiar with it
Okay.
because we've never had LEDs in our office.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the training looks like, what if any kind of like PC is needed within, for us to use specific. I'm not sure what their requirements are, because nobody has ever been LED certified in our office before.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a scoop. Moral of the story, we're not moving forward with it.
Right.
Right now. Yeah.
All right. Strategic plan draft review.
Well, and I would put forward to the board right now that the rest of our stuff for discussion action items and correspondence could probably be easier handled after lunch. I think,
Okay.
Yeah, we need a little bit of fueling and then come back with more eyes on the prize.
Sounds
What are
good.
we going to start with?
Sorry, Heather?
I was just wondering what we were going to start with, so I can.
Oh, starting with the strategic plan draft review, but we're going to do that after lunch.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.